In the last clip, I just explained how the live production system of hackyourselffirst.troyhunt.com does have somewhat limited rights. I have to do that to keep the thing alive. But I do have a local version running on my machine, and it's got this local prefix you see here. Now this local version has the web app connecting to the database with God rights. It can do anything. And because of that, I can show you a few behaviors that you can't see on my public site. Unfortunately, you can see it on many other people's public sites. This is why SQL injection remains in that #1 spot. But here's what I want to do. Let's scroll down and we'll look at the v12s on my local system, and we'll use the same attack vector as we have on the live site. Now what I want to do this time is I'm going to use a union-based injection attack, and I'm going to union the results of this page with select 0, because remember, we know this page returns an integer ID followed by a string, so 0 will satisfy the requirement to have the same number of columns of the same data type. And then I'm going to select the name column from sys databases. Let's run that. And here are our internal database names. So things like 01 injection. And in fact, this is a database used in my OWASP Top 10 for ASP.NET Developers course. All of these ones you see here are from that course. They've shown up first simply by virtue of having been sorted alphabetically. The real point here though is that this sys databases table is showing us all the other databases on the system. So no longer are we just constrained to looking at the Hack Yourself First database. Now we're seeing the other databases. But of course, we're only just getting started. This is just database names. So let's take something like that 01-injection database and find out what tables are in there. So I'm going to want to select out of sys.tables. And we know that in sys.tables, there is a column called name. So I can actually leave my select statement here the same. All I'm going to do is I'm going to change the database I'm selecting from. So let's change it to 01-injection, and I've put this in square braces because once we have a dash in an object name in SQL Server, we need to encapsulate the name in braces, and then .sys.tables. So this is just fully qualifying the database name that the table exists in. It means that we can run this query from any database and get the results for the target one. Let's run that now. And it doesn't work. We have ourselves a different problem. And I want to show you this problem just to demonstrate the sort of idiosyncrasies that you can come across when running this style of attack. Now this is a collation conflict. And what it's saying is that the collation of the name column in sys.tables in that injection database is not the same as the collation of the column which is being returned by the query on this page. So that'd be the one that's actually returning supercars with model names. Now this is all happening because you can't compare two different collations or union them together, or else you'll get this exception. But we can work around this very easily. We've just got to cast the new column as the target collation. So let's just copy the name of this collation onto the clipboard, and then after the name column up here, which is where we're having a collation issue, we'll just collate, paste, and run. Problem solved. Now we can see our table names. We've got a table called credit card, which looks particularly enticing. We've got product, product category, product subcategory. So we've managed to get all of these table names out of the other database. Now from here, we can go on and mount all the sorts of attacks that you've seen already throughout this course. So long as the web application that we're connecting to the database with has the rights to query these other databases, we can get all the data out. It's exactly the same attacks as we've seen earlier. And what this is really demonstrating here is the problem with excessive permissions on the database account the web app is using. There is no reason why the account that this app is connecting to the database with should be able to read data from every single database on the system. And again, we'll talk about the principle of least permission later on in this course. But the unfortunate reality is that a lot of web apps are connecting with either God rights or accounts that have way too many access rights across way too many databases. And that means that you can do stuff like this. But it can be even worse. Let's move on now and have a look at how we can actually create new database logins.